Oh, I say! Messi. Oh, brilliant skill from Lionel Messi. Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is!
Yes, good morning. It is good morning, isn't it? It's not afternoon. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. It's a Tuesday morning chat with Savva, and today we have a very relaxed Queen Ellie Hoiberg from, I want to say, Cyprus.
Yes, right, Savva. I'm in Cyprus on the beach. Found a nice little quiet spot so I can come on the stream. Come on, you Spurs. I wouldn't miss it for the earth.
Well, we're not jealous at all, are we, Kate? We're not jealous by this in one way or another.
Oh, my God. I am so jealous right now. You look so chilled out and lovely and warm, and it's cold here and miserable, but it's so good to see you, Ellie.
So good to see you. Sorry about your leg.
Oh, that's all right. Don't go into me injuries, for God's sake.
Wondered where she was going with that. Sorry about your... Spurs get a point and Ellie goes to Cyprus to celebrate. Kate, yes. we haven't left. We haven't left the UK. How are you, Kate? You well?
Yeah, not too bad. A long day yesterday at the hospital, and I think I've sprained my ankle. But apart from that, everything is good.
Well, there you go. Breaking news: Kate is out of the North London of the Liverpool Spurs game at the weekend. Should we say? Kate's injured. She's not going to make it. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Smash the like button. We will be talking North London derby. We're going to be talking Tottenham Liverpool. We're also going to be talking about some noise that's coming out in the last 24, 48 hours about Ellie's favourite man, Mr. Pierre Hoiberg. He's got rid of his agent. He's getting a new agent. Romano says that he's going to be looking for a club in January. We'll be talking about it. Yeah, boo. Yes, get out, Vietnam. So big up to everyone in the chat. Good morning. Get your questions in. Good morning to Vinny Rowley, as always. Good morning to Danny. Morning to Mark Cook. To Jim, just a guy who loves Spurs, who loves Kate, who loves Spurs, and they're all in love, and it's beautiful. Skyline, good morning to you. Good morning to Tigaro, as always. Hope you're well, my friend. Good morning to this guy who's going to be late. Hate late people. Going to be late, this guy. Who else have we got in the chat? We've got Chloe King. Good morning to you, Chloe. Hope you are well. Just saying I deserve an award. Yeah, of course I do. I deserve an award. Why not? Don't worry, I'll be plugging that a bit later. And I work with guests like Ellie and Kate, so of course I deserve an award just for putting up with them. So we've got Paul Connor in the chat. Tyrell Gunner, big up to you. Potato Stew, best name. Mark Cousins, Carl Simpson, Melvin Green, Tony Austin. We've got Phil P in the chat. Exactly. Rimon is in the chat. Andrew Bailey's in the chat. There's lots of people in the chat. And of course, to keep us all in check is Ben Kaufman. The mod father is in the house. Ladies, there's only one place to start. After this weekend, there's only one place to start, which is, of course, me being nominated and making it through to the final 10 of the best new content creator. And look, no, on a serious note, look, all I'll say is if you haven't voted, please do. It would mean the world to me. There are some really good creators in that section, and I know that their fan bases will be voting for them. All of Man City will vote for Big Steve. Will all of the Tottenham fan base vote for me? Or are we going to do that thing we always do where make it rivalry in our own fan base? I reckon I know the answer, but let's see what we can do. The link is in the chat. I've put the link in again now. The last word in the link is voting. So if you see that, and big up to Susie. If anyone doesn't know Susie, this is Perchy's better half. She has, no, let's hide that. She has put this together. So she has put this together. So we'll be putting this forward on Instagram a bit later. And there is a video that goes with it for an Instagram reel. So big up, Susie. And if Perchy doesn't marry you anytime soon, he's a knobhead. Perchy, hope you are listening, my friend. On a serious note, so please go over there, smash the vote button. I really do appreciate it. And as by magic, she appears. Thanks, Susie. You are an absolute star. If it doesn't work out with Perchy, come and live with me and my wife. We'll find room for you. It's all good.
Oh my God, that's a whole other story.
Perchy, are you watching? Look, on a serious note, look, it's the noise has died down a tiny bit now. We're on to Tuesday. There was this big hoo-ha, Ellie, going into the North London derby. Spurs be Spursy. Will we get rolled over? Will we show fight and character? I think we've got the answers to every single question that we asked, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we didn't roll over. We showed a lot of character and we took the game to them in the second half. Because in that first half, they were pressing us so well. We couldn't really get out of our half most of the time. But when we did, we had a threat, right? So there was something there to play on. For the second half, I think what he did, he's very clever because he knew that Udogie had a yellow card. So I personally saw this, but I don't know if other fans saw it. He switched. He put Udogie more forward and he played Van der Ven in Udogie's role more or less. But he was covering his own role and Udogie's role. So I'm giving Van der Ven the man of the match just for doing that in the second half. He was fabulous. And his ball distribution, and he never lost the ball once. He was fabulous.
Yeah. I think he's our best defender. I'm just going to say it, but listen, we'll get to that a bit later. I know Ellie's going to go, but Romero. Kate, look, it wasn't it? The first sort of 20 minutes, I think we were all sitting there going, oh, it's a bit nervy. Couple of young players like Sart and Udogie looked very nervous, gave away yellow cards early on, gave the ball away a lot. But they grew into it magnificently. And I just think as a unit, we were brave. We were courageous on the ball. We took risks, sometimes really dangerous risks. But, I mean, what a day. What a day it was.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the game, but I had your watch along on at the same time. And I saw that when Udogie got the yellow card, people were calling for Davis to come on. And I said to Jim, oh, God, no, don't take him off yet. He's going to be fine. But the mentality that these young players showed when they got such early yellow cards to not go out and do reckless challenges and get sent off was incredible. And I just thought it was such a great team performance that showed so much heart. And it just, to me, it banished that Spursy tag because to come back twice away from home against our biggest rivals, when so many of our team are so young and have never experienced a North London derby, I thought we were just brilliant. And I agree with Ellie. For me, Van der Ven was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, look, before we get on to individual players, I think, Ellie, if anything showed what we're made of, I mean, to go down once at Arsenal and come back is good. But to go down twice to an own goal, which normally would deflate teams, and then a penalty, which I will get into it later, but then a dodgy penalty to score from the kickoff, and what character they showed. Superb.
Yeah. And also, not just character, I think we're a reflection of our manager, Savva, right? Because he was cool, calm and collected in his waiter's suit on the side. Looked like a Greek waiter. But how calm was he? And like Arteta was doing a triple lutz, and like going like a nutter on the sideline. And he was so calm. And we stayed calm, right? We didn't lose our heads. Twice we went behind. Twice we came back. That shows a lot of character, a lot of skill, and a lot of belief in the way we play. And Ange has instilled that into every single one of those players, right? So I'm really proud of them. Come on, you Spurs. I was really sweating it in the first half because they had a lot of the ball, but we came back strong in the second half. Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, we did. I think that's the key thing. Kate, I was watching in the first sort of 25, 30 minutes. To be honest, I think a lot of us are sitting there thinking, oh my God, just get this to half-time 1-0. Like, because it was tough. We had a lot of the ball, but it was in our own half. We weren't really able to break the lines. Then there seemed to be that moment after the goal, that moment where it was almost like, right, should we start being Tottenham now and not Tottenham of last year? And then I think they were the ones at the end of the first half not wanting to get into the halftime whistle.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arsenal, I think we showed them a bit too much respect, and I think we weren't ready to sort of play our game and play the Ange way from the off, because we was away from home. Obviously, all the fans are on. All the players know what it means to the fans, a game like that. And I think we were a bit nervous, showed them too much respect. But I think when that goal went in, they sort of thought, do you know what? We can go toe to toe with these. Let's go back to playing. I mean, after half time, I don't know what Ange said to him. I just adore that man. But they came out a completely different side, full of confidence. They just looked completely different. The first 25 minutes, it was like watching Conte ball, and I was going, "Oh my God, they're so disorganised," and I was panicking a little bit. But like you say, I think when half time came, I think Arsenal were kind of relieved it came, and we kind of wanted to carry on because we'd found our momentum by then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ellie, one of the key things for me here is that we're starting to see that whatever Ange says at half time clearly seems to be working. Now, don't get me wrong. In all the other games, I'm not saying we were terrible in the first 30 minutes, but we have notoriously started the games slowly. I think that's a theme in all our games. We started the first 15 minutes or so. But whatever he says at half time, this man must have the magic touch. We've seen his team talks on the internet. We've seen his team talks. He must have some brilliant management. Yeah,
he's a man manager, but he keeps his distance, but he's a very friendly man, if you know what I mean. But I would have thought he would have, he's got that magic patter, hasn't he? He knows how to relax people, and he's got a very easy style, right? And I know he would lose his temper if he thinks things are not going right, but I think he loses his temper in a good sort of way, not in a Conte way. Right. He stays civilized, yeah. And I just feel that the way he's got with words, he's just got that magic, the words that he uses, and you really do believe in everything that he says. And when those players came out in the second half, you could see that his magic had worked on them, because they didn't do much different. They weren't pressed so much as well by Arsenal because they tired. Odegaard went missing. Saka was more defensive than attacking because Udogie was picking up, right? But I just think Ange said, don't panic. We're still in the game. We're 1-1. Let's go out there and play our football. Stick to the plan and don't stray from it, and then you'll get your just rewards. And we did. We came back after we did that penalty. I was so cross with it because I thought, what could he do? Couldn't do much about it. But, I just think that Ange knows what to say. He's got that special patter about him.
I agree with you, and Ellie. I think one of the key things you said there was it was that Odegaard went missing for the day, and I think you're being polite on Saka. I'll be honest. I think Saka's name is going to be in the headlights because his shot was deflected and he scored a penalty. But really, I didn't see anything from Saka that made me think, they're talking about him. Oh my God, he's up for the Ballon d'Or and he's going to, he's the best winger in the world. I watched him and I was like, I don't know what in moments. I think he's got great moments where he cuts in and whips in a 20-yarder. But throughout a game, as a fullback, are they worried about playing against him? Because I thought a doggy from the side of 25th, 30th minute till the 90th, I thought he had Saka in his pocket and he should give him back.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kate. Yeah, to anyone. Go ahead.
I agree. I think Saka was completely anonymous in the second half, but I don't get the hype. I've never got the hype. I agree with you completely. He has moments where you go, wow. But generally, I don't get it. But I feel the same about Declan Rice. I don't get that either. I saw Gary Neville's podcast after the game, and he said that if Declan Rice hadn't been subbed, we would have lost. And I'm like, why? On what? He didn't make that much difference, you know. Why? What are they basing this on? The fact that he's English or play, you know, or whatever? I don't get it. I don't get all this hype around these players.
It is a bit of English bias, and you know when Odegaard goes missing, Saka invariably goes missing because they're two players who rely on each other. You watch a lot of Arsenal play. It's like when we had Dele and Eriksson. If either of them went missing, they weren't a combination. So I think because Odegaard went missing, Saka went missing as well. Plus he got done by Maddison, but we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you know what? I think you're right, you know. Look, Declan Rice, we've had this chat before. Declan Rice is very good at what he does, right? He is. I like Declan Rice. If someone said to me, Declan Rice is going to be your number 8 or number 6, whatever, for the next 7 years in a Spurs shirt, sure, give him to me. Yeah. I'm happy with that. You know what you're going to get. But was he the difference between Arsenal winning or not? Because I saw in the first half, I saw us break a number of times. James Maddison broke through the centre of the park with all the time in the world. I didn't see Declan Rice anywhere.
No, I don't get the hype with him. I mean, Arsenal fans talk about him like he's the Messiah, but they say, well, it's Spurs bias, but I've said it since he was at West Ham. I don't get the hype. He's a good player and he's steady and you know what you're going to get, but there's nothing spectacular about him at all. Oh, Amazon must have arrived. Savva's legged it.
Yeah, do you know what? To add to that, right, I said to Savva, he's not much better than Hojbjerg. The only thing that he's better at Hojbjerg in the stats, if you look at their stats, is when he's running with the ball. Because Hojbjerg likes to pick out a pass rather than run with the ball, right? But he has run with the ball. But I just think he's an overhyped player. I just 100%. Don't get it.
No,
I don't get Saka and I don't get Rice. All right, he's a steady Eddie, but he's not like he's not like a Basuma. Basuma's much more. He's got much more to his game than Rice.
He's dynamic, isn't he, Basuma?
Yeah.
I just don't get. Listen, I like as I said, I like Declan Rice. I knew the moment he came off that this was the angle. I knew this was the angle. But for me, it's not just that. It's when I looked at the Arsenal team, I was expecting more. They've hyped this team up unbearably. I was expecting more. I was expecting to be clearing the ball off the line every 5 minutes, for Vicario to be down to his right, down to his left, for Romero and Van der Ven to be having to make countless last-ditch tackles. And really, when you actually look at the chances they had, they scored an own goal and a penalty.
Yeah.
The other 2 big chances they had was a doggy giving the ball away, a back pass, and Nketiah hit it into the side netting, or Vicario parried it away. And then Jesus, because Maddison gave the ball away in our box. Other than that, the only danger I felt for them, and tell me if I'm wrong, was from corner kicks, which I did think they had very good corners. I thought they kept delivering that ball on a sixpence. But other than that, did you feel like massively threatened when they went forward? I didn't see this free-flowing Barcelona-esque team that they've made out they are.
No, I just thought they faffed about a lot. They passed the ball too many times, and it allowed our defence to get even more organised. Because I thought our defence were quite organised in that second half. The first half, they were a little bit frantic and they were getting pressed. But the second half, they found their feet. Arsenal tired, and then we took advantage. And I just thought they passed too many times. They're not clinical enough. If you've got a striker that you're confident with, you whip it in, don't you? Because they're not confident with their strikers. They don't whip it in. All right, they had 11 corners, but they didn't really... They were good corners, don't get me wrong, but they didn't really come close on one of those corners to score, apart from when they got the penalty. Yeah? So I didn't feel threatened at all. Powder puff. That's what I called them.
Well, I mean, let's move to the penalty, Kate. By the way, I'm just putting a poll out. But I did put a poll out saying, does Savva deserve an award? And out of the 111 that voted, 17% said no. So big up to that 17%. Yes, please do. Boo to you.
Get the 17% number, Savva. We'll sort them out, innit, Kate?
Yeah, we'll sort them out.
It's absolutely madness. You would think there'd be some loyalty. Do you know what I've seen for some of the other content creators? This is the funny thing. Honestly, I've seen their whole fan base go, right, get over and support so-and-so. I've seen, do you know what? A couple of people I know that have been supporting me massively, like the likes of Barry and Perchy and Haz and those kind of people. And I guarantee none of the bigger channels, I guarantee none of the other channels that are about my size will go, do you know what? Fair play. All right. I guarantee it. Whereas me...
I was going to say, I'm only a little channel, but I will be pushing for you, Savva, and I've put it on all my socials.
I know you will, Kate. I know you will. Absolutely. And I appreciate that. What I will say is, whilst we've got this time, please actually vote for Last Word on Spurs, who are representing Spurs. They're in for the best podcast category. Vote for Chris Cowlin. Doesn't matter whether or not I work with Chris or whether or not I like all of his content or whatever. He is, as far as I'm concerned, representing Tottenham Hotspur in these awards. Go and vote for him for best content creator, and go and vote for young Harry Scarf. So he's in for the diversity, quality and inclusion, I believe, award. So please go and vote for the free and vote for Expressions. Go on, vote for Expressions. You've got to. He's a great laugh. And he's got a tough category. He's against people like Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano. But please vote for all the Spurs people. None of us are against each other. Right, there's no two Spurs people in each category, so please go and vote and let's make this a Spurs thing, shall we? Let's see if our community comes together for once. Kate, the penalty. I think that bloke in the background wants to join in. So you wanna?
That's my hubby.
I know.
Get out the CT. QPR fans.
Oh, QPR.
All right, go on.
But don't eat here.
I'm on the street tea.
Well, don't eat here.
All right. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Holiday vibes. Love it. Absolutely. Live scenes from there in Cyprus. No, you're right. Yeah. Kate, let's look at the penalty. This has caused debate up and down every YouTube channel, whether it's Spurs fans, not Spurs fans. I'm just going to ask a question. When you see that type of penalty being given, one, what on earth is the defender meant to do? And two, all these people that clearly have never played the game of football in their life saying, but he had his arms out. How is a defender sliding in to make a tackle meant to slide in with their arms behind their backs? How do you balance yourself? That's not how you naturally slide or tackle. What? It's mad, isn't it?
I can't believe anyone's defending it and saying it is a penalty. I don't understand what on earth Romero could have done. You know, I always thought originally it was ball to hand, hand to ball, right? So if you deliberately move your arm and it hits the ball, blah, 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 and if it denies a goal scoring opportunity, then for some reason Jim thought the rule had changed where if it was a yard or less away, it wasn't a pen because there's nothing they can do. You know, we're human beings. You've got to balance yourself. The way the body moves, sometimes you can't move. It can only go one way. Do you know what I mean? For me, it was the most moronic decision I've ever known. And the fact that it took so blooming long to come to that conclusion, where has it's got to be clear and obvious? It's just gone out the window. It's like they're looking for things all the time. They're looking for ways to disallow goals. They're looking for ways to give penalties. And yet the clearest thing in the whole world was the fact that Nketiah should have been sent off, and they missed that. I mean, it's just bonkers. It's ruining the whole game, and it drives me bonkers.
No, I agree. I mean, Ellie, this is the key thing. So I watched a show last night and somebody was adamant, going, but his hands. I was like, if you actually, the problem is when you put a still image of somebody, it doesn't tell you a full story. They say pictures don't lie, but they do. They do lie, because if I skidded across my room like this, what you're going to see is a picture of me there. What you won't see is how my hands have moved like that, either away from my body or into my body. Now, if you watch that foul, so I'm not preaching to you guys, but when you watch that foul, that penalty, you'll see that Romero's actually, he's balanced his body and he's actually moving his hands away from an unnatural position, which I think is a ridiculous thing anyway, Ellie, an unnatural position. But he's moving his hands in. It's a yard away. If I kick a ball at you a yard away, Ellie, naturally, what can you do in like that? There's nothing you can do.
Sometimes you put your hand up to protect your face or your body. So that ball hits you, it bloody hurts, right? But that, you know, when they go to VAR, Savva, do they slow-mo it for the referee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's not fair because they shouldn't show it in full speed because that way they'll see the build-up and they'll see that his hand, it's not hand to ball, it's ball to hand, right? What's he meant to do? And he was sliding down to tackle, right, to make sure that he blocks the goal being scored, right? So I just said that's no penalty straight away. But the longer it went on, when it went to VAR and then they asked the referee, I said that's going to be a penalty now. Invariably, they always give it, don't they?
Yeah.
When the referee goes to the monitor.
I just think, do you know what I think it is, Ellie? I think it's common sense. We're trying to run football so methodically now that there's no grey areas. Like we're trying to make everything black or white. Now, for me, if it's not a clear and obvious, you can't give it. That's what we were told the rule was. We were told this was for if the refs looked at it and made a complete mess. Like if now what we're getting is, oh, we're not sure about that. Go back and have a look for 2 minutes. Now, first of all, there was a foul on Maddison in the build-up, right? But we won't go into that. There's no point. He didn't give it. Second of all, I just don't know what the point of defending is anymore, where you're not allowed to stop crosses coming into the box because you have to go unbalanced with your arms behind your back. You're not allowed to be side on because if you're side on, do you remember, Ellie, you've played the game. Defenders are always taught to defend side on. You don't go square on with your man. Side on so that you know where you're right. Right. If I'm side on, do I go side on with my hands by my side?
I know. You can't.
It doesn't make sense.
It's impossible. And also what I'd like to point out, Van der Ven was next to Romero, right? And he put his hands behind his back because he knew what was coming, but he was further down the field than Romero. Romero was more central. Van der Ven was beyond him on the left-hand side, right? And he even put his hands behind his back because he knows what's coming. And they don't have much faith in this system because, like you said, there's no bloody grey areas.
No, this is the thing. I feel like we're getting to a point where, I mean, the art of defending is, I'm literally watching now, right? So on Sky Sports, it's just flicked over and they've shown a highlight of Coventry versus Huddersfield at the weekend. And you can see here, the ball comes in from the left-hand side and all three Coventry defenders, rather than focusing on the ball coming in, are doing that.
Yeah.
All three of them, their reaction now isn't defend. Their reaction is can't give away a penalty.
Yeah.
That's wrong. And forget Romero's one. That is wrong. That is not what football should be. It's mad. Sorry, it frustrates me so much.
It is frustrating because they make football's not a difficult game, but they've just made it so complicated. They're adding all these rules and regs. It's just, why can't it just? I know there was the occasional bad decision. That's why VAR was brought in, but it's not being used the way it was brought in to be used. It was only ever meant to get involved if there was a clear and obvious error. It wasn't meant to be used for every goal, for every decision, to spend 3 minutes analysing to see if they can find any reason to give something. It is just it ruining the game. My uncle was followed Tottenham. He took me to my first game when I was 6. He stopped watching the minute VAR came in. He can't bear it because he said, for me, it's just ruined the game.
It's massive. It's massively ruined the game. I mean, we're getting to the end of games now and there's 10 to 12 minutes because some VAR decisions, as well as injuries, but some VAR decisions are taking 3 minutes to get to an answer. I don't know if any of you saw, there was the tackle in the tackle in the Chelsea game, Chelsea Villa. Don't know if you've seen that from Gusto. And when I watched Sky Sky Sports yesterday morning, and they have the ref watch. They have Dermot Gallagher, and then they have Stephen Warnock and Sue
Smith.
Sue Smith. I love her. I think she's excellent.
She's wicked.
Sue Smith and Stephen Warnock were like, well, what's he meant to do? Like, he's made the tackle and won the ball. Where's his foot meant to go afterwards? Like, why is it a red? Years gone by, you would have just said foul and maybe a yellow. Now it's red. I don't understand what's happened to defending, to tackling, to the intensity of the game. It's dying.
Do you know what it is, Savva? It's because people like Sue Smith, Steve Warnock, they've played the game.
Right.
So they see how it goes. The people sitting in VAR have never played football. So they're just making decisions without the logic. I know there's this big, like, people have been calling for ex-players to be in there, but because of the bias and that. But they can't have people that haven't played the game making decisions because it's clearly not working. They're making ridiculous decisions.
Yeah.
Let's get Ellie in there.
I agree with you. And listen, a lot of people say, technically it's correct, it's a penalty. I don't care whether that's technically correct, it's a penalty. It's ridiculous. All you've got to do now is take a shot and aim at a player's hand. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Years gone by, they would have just gone, oh, play on. Imagine the old refs. Oh, come on, play on, go away. Never a penalty. Now every fan goes, oh, VAR. I hate it. I hate what has happened to football.
And they sing songs about VAR, about how wonderful it is when their decision goes their way, and that speaks volumes.
VAR, my lord, isn't it?
Yeah,
VAR, my lord.
Exactly.
Well, you're not a very religious man there, Savva, so you won't be singing.
Oh, don't start that again, Ellie.
Right, I'm stuck in Cyprus with 2 Chelsea fans, right? So I was at one bar watching Spurs. They were at another bar watching Chelsea. They came back and they said, what is he supposed to do, El? What is he supposed to do? He's made the tackle. He's won the ball. Where his body's momentum's going to go and take the player off his legs. But he's actually won the balls. That's what football's about. It's the skill of winning the ball. And they've taken all the fun away from defending because they're bloody scared to tackle now.
I'll tell you what. Here you go. What it was.
Scared to tackle.
Chicken on a basketball, other than a ridiculous name. Please tell me then, this is what I love about YouTube, is you ask a question, you get lots of sound bites, but no answers. Please tell me chicken on a basketball. Forget that it's Spurs for a moment. Forget that that's Romero. What was the defender, not Romero, what was the defender in that circumstance meant to do with his hands? Please tell me, chicken on a basketball. Let me see if I can get a reasoned answer from you with some thought. Put some thought into it. What was Romero meant to do? He's sliding across to defend his goal like defenders are taught to do. Throw your body on the line, right? Yep. John Terry made a career of throw your body on the line. Tony Adams, these people threw their body in the way, right? What was he meant to do, chicken on a basketball, to not for that not to be a penalty? Please
chicken on a basketball. Chicken on a basketball is just put people in VAR aren't people that have played football, but apparently Kate is. I'm not saying I've played football. That's not what I'm saying. You're not getting what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
he's an idiot.
Football is money. It's massive. And these odd points here and there, decisions can affect clubs in so many ways. So ex-footballers or people with footballing experience, not refs, need to have some say in VAR. Everybody says it. I'm not saying it because I'm a Spurs fan. Every club says it.
Yeah,
honestly.
But Danny, I don't get it, right? No, Dan, I wouldn't scream for a penalty because I hate these rules. No, I wouldn't. I'm not one of those childish fans. I hate these rules. So many times when things like that happen, I go, "Oh, just play on. Come on, it's ridiculous, Dan." When you're saying he blocked the goal, he's meant to block the goal. He's a defender, right? Yeah. What? Tell me, what is he meant to do? It wasn't even 6 yards away from him, ladies. It wasn't 6 yards away. It wasn't 20 yards away. It was like that. What's he meant to do? You could tell in the chat who's played and who hasn't, because this is ridiculous. Yeah. If I'm defending, right, I played as a right back, Ellie. I was a right back when I played, and I was to a decent standard, right? Not like you, but I played to a decent standard, right? For me, I was one of them people that I was always taught. I'm always taught like this. side on. So my hands are naturally in a body position where I'm ready to run. Whether I go that way with my fullback, a winger, whether I go that way, whether I'm tracking back. Right. I was never taught that I worked at Charlton Athletic, right? Professional coaches while Charlton were in the Premier League. None of the defence. I worked there with people like Colin Walsh, who won the Champions League for Brian Clough for Nottingham Forest, right? Yeah. When he was coaching, I never saw him say to anyone, go out to your man and stick your hands behind your back because you're worried about a handball. That's not how they coached.
No.
That's not football.
The thing is, as well, I don't know if it was Basuma or Udogi, but there was someone on the line behind. So even if there was someone that would have stopped the ball anyway, it wasn't like Romero was trying to stop the goal. He just couldn't move his arms. There was a Tottenham player there, so it weren't going to go in. Do you know? It's just bonkers.
And Vicario was then. What an athletic goalkeeper he is.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have got across and saved it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just getting. Yeah, Scholesy, you're right. It is getting ridiculous. The old rule, if I'm not wrong, please clarify, ladies, if I'm wrong. The old rule used to be, is it hand to ball?
Yeah,
right? Not ball to hand. And you could tell if someone if we're talking about like that famous Uruguay where Suarez went boom and whacked it off the goal line, right? If it's ball to hand to ball. Now it's just getting absolutely. I don't understand these people. I don't understand. No one can answer me. No one can answer me.
It was clear that it wasn't hand to ball. It was clear.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And the proximity of that shot, right? It wasn't fair on Romero. It was so bad. I was screaming that pub down, Savva. Honestly. I was going mental.
I just the thing that I've asked for, right? The thing that I've asked for that no one can seem to answer me. What was he meant to do? No one can answer that. Oh, but his hand's there. What was he meant to do like that?
Yeah.
And were his hands out like that, or was he running and moving over like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No common sense.
Do you remember that decision? I think it was was it Mora where he was falling and he fell and the ball hit his hand and they got given it as a penalty?
Yeah,
is it Mora? You remember that? Yeah. See, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, think back to last year. Was it last year or the year before? Think back last year. Tottenham versus, I want to say the season before, actually. Was it last year? Tottenham Newcastle, I've got in my mind, or Tottenham Burnley, and Eric Dyer jumped.
Oh.
And the ball was
Newcastle.
Right.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer wasn't facing the ball. He was in the air. Someone's had a shot. He's in the air. He's landing. As he's landing, bearing in mind he can't see the ball. The ball's hit his hand and they've gone penalty.
Oh, no.
He can't see it.
I know.
How could it be handball? He can't see it.
I know. It just hit the top of his shoulder, didn't it? Like on his arm, and it rolled down his arm. What a ridiculous decision.
It's
They
madness.
got rid of that one.
There's no consistency, Ellie. This is what frustrates me. People going, oh, VAR. So Eddie Nketiah can fly in on Vicario, take his legs from a standing still position, and they can justify that's a yellow. Do you know what I mean? These are the sort of things where you go, hang on, this VAR is not working. They're making it up as they go along without common sense.
I think Ellie's frozen.
One as well.
Oh, there she is.
Am I frozen?
No.
Yeah, no, you're all right now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's different from the Chelsea one because he made the tackle. And Nketiah went charging towards Vicario and actually took his legs away from him and went full pelt into him. And luckily, Vicario's very athletic.
That's because 80% of supporters don't actually understand or haven't played the game. Go and play a game. Yeah. Right, I'll tell you what, play the game. If that happens to you, the first thing you'll come off the pitch and say is, what was I meant to do? Sorry, I'm so adamant on this. What was I meant to do?
Yeah.
Right, was Romero not meant... So I'll ask this question. Romero's running across, right? So he would have been from the left back position. He's running across the goal to stop the ball, to block it. Is he meant to run across the goal line like that?
Oh, no. You can't. You'll topple over.
Right.
You need your balance.
So what's he meant to do? Also, I will say to this, for people like Danny who don't get it, if you are 1 yard away, if I chuck something at you from 1 yard, you can't do anything with your body. You can't maneuver your body. I'm baffled by this. And this isn't because it was against Spurs. Sorry, I'm going to rant. This isn't because it was against Spurs, ladies. I hate any Premier League game I watch now. I'm sitting there going, oh, just play on. Stop this. Oh, we're going to VAR and the ref's doing this. Then after 3 minutes, those people can't seem to make a decision and need to send him to a monitor. It's like, this is killing football. Yeah?
Yeah. And a monitor that's slow mode that can distort the image. It can.
Yeah, and they show it from about 10 different angles. What happened to just being able to see what's in front of you? I mean, I can't cope with it at all.
It's the beautiful thing. If you watch any foul, any tackle, any goal, any header from 10 different angles, you're going to see 10 different things. How many times you've seen a penalty shout and you've gone, that's never a foul. And then when they put it from another angle, you go, oh, that is a foul, right? Oh, no, I'm not sure. That angle, it doesn't. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, really?
Just leave it up to the referee to call it, for God's sake.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
the referee
absolutely.
getting paid for? Is he getting paid for just to get his yellow and red card out? That's what he's getting paid for.
He blocked he blocked the goal from going in. He's meant to. That's his job, Dan. That's his job. Times have changed. No, they haven't. He's a defender. The ball stopped. I can't deal with people who don't understand football. I can't get it. Sorry. I just can't. I can't get it. Anyway, so that penalty's given. How and Ketia, let's move to that one more importantly. How and Ketia's was not a red card.
Oh, no.
This is why I hate VAR. This is why I hate it. How was that not given?
That could have ended Vicario's career so easily. It was just the most atrocious. It was out of control. It was reckless. It was just everything that points to a red card. I don't understand how it wasn't given.
Yeah, I agree. I second that because, like, he ran full pelt at Vicario to win the ball. Fair enough. Try and win the ball. But when you see you can't, right, don't go full pelt towards the goalie. He could have stopped his momentum as well. He could have, right? But he went right through him, right? And I was screaming, that's a red card. When he gave the yellow card, I thought, what? I just thought the gods were against us then, the football gods, not the real God up in the sky, the football gods. Yeah, like I have to stick with your plan, Savva, right? The football gods were against us. But I'm so glad we got our just rewards later in the game. Well, not even that, not that much later either.
So I'm so frustrated. First of all, the old rule. Sorry, why is it an old rule? Why is it an old rule? Like, this is mental. Football, there was nothing wrong with football. And look at this. He was meant to move his hand away and have it next to his side. Somebody here who's never played football. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Lots of people who have never played football here.
He the ball, wasn't it? He hit his hand. He couldn't do nothing about it.
I hate this. That's the old rule because the rules are the rules. Football's so easy. They're just twisting the rules to make more money. VAR is making more money. It's honestly, every football fan, I don't care if you're Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, should hate these rules, should hate the fact that was given as a penalty. They should hate it. Because it is ruining the football game.
Well, this is the thing. If we're going to do this every time, let's say I softened my stance on this, right? I never will, by the way, because I don't think there was anything wrong with the old rules. I thought the game was much more free flowing and more exciting. You could celebrate a goal than it wasn't then uncelebrated, so to speak. This is. If we're going to go by the theory of all these other people, cool. Then every time there's a decision, no one should ever complain. Ever.
Exactly.
Ever. No one should ever complain if we're going to go down these routes. So next time it happens to Arsenal, to Man United, whatever, we're just going to go, there you go, done. Fair enough, it's a penalty. But we won't. What people will do when it's against their own team, they will find a way to go, oh, but. Now, what I'll do is I'll defend all these teams. I hate it, whether it's, you guys might, I hate it if it's given against Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Chelsea. I just hate these rules. It's killing the game. And Louis made a point. Romero lunged to block the ball. Yeah, like any good defender.
And he's killing me. He's killing. Yeah.
His hand was coming down, and you need balance when lunging.
He's killing the spirit of the genuine football fan.
Yeah, no, I agree. Give me 1 second, Ellie, with your dodgy connection. And his hand was coming down. And you need balance when lunging. What is he meant to do? Anyone saying it's a pen does not understand defending. Again, as he's defending, his hands are moving that way with his body. It's absolutely. I'll tell you what. Cool. Here you go. Here's a question then. How many of you Spurs fans were upset from the Sissoko one in the Champions League final? Can't be upset about it. You can't be upset about it.
Nah.
Well, the
if
first
you're not
words that
upset
come
about
out,
that, you must be like. Oh.
Well, I said to Jim when it happened, I said, look, you can't give a decision, the referee that decision to make, because you're not going to get away with that in a Champions League final. So, but that's because you know what you're going to get now. You know it's going to be given. So I'm the same as you, Savva. Me and Jim watch every football game. And every time there's a dodgy decision, Jim particularly goes crazy. Doesn't matter who it's against. If Chelsea get a terrible decision go against them, we might secretly laugh. But at the same time, we will say that's outrageous. That should never have happened because it is ruining the game overall. You know, it's just awful.
But, okay, cool. So this is my point then. Anybody who's annoyed that we lost the Champions League final because of a Sissoko handball, right? You can't be annoyed now. You can't be annoyed. It was handball. There we go. So you can't have it one way and not the other. So who in the chat thinks that wasn't a handball against Sissoko? This is my point. You see what I mean? We can't pick and choose when we like a decision, when we're going, by the letter of the law. By the letter of the law, Sissoko's was a handball.
Yeah.
Now who agrees with the rule? Right? If in the last minute of the FA Cup final, let me ask you, if that is given as a penalty against Spurs, Spurs are playing Aston Villa in an FA Cup final, and Tyrone Mings does that. Sorry, and Romero does that. Same thing again against Aston Villa, and the penalty given in the 93rd minute, and they win 1-0. Who's setting after the FA Cup final when we've just lost the final? Yeah, it is what it is. By the letter of the law, it's a handball. Or is everyone up in arms at, this is ridiculous, this is not a penalty?
Yep. That's what I said. Every fan base should be united in hating these decisions, but they don't. They suit it to their own narrative. Arsenal fans are saying it was a penalty because they're Arsenal fans, whereas they should be saying, no, it was harsh. What was he meant to do? But this is what VAR does. But it just doesn't work that way. People haven't got a reasonable mind. They're too biased.
By the way, I'm putting the link in the chat. I'd love Danny to come on. Just Danny. Please don't all start coming on. I'm not going to let you on. Danny, I'd like you to come on. I know what will happen here. I won't get answers to actual questions. But Danny, you're welcome to come on. The link is in the chat. I've literally just put it in while we're waiting for that. Just quickly, Mia, big up to you. I said we thought Potts was magic. We were wrong. He was just the assistant. We have the real thing in Ange. We game at their stadium. That was magic. Do you know what?
That's right.
Made me laugh. All these people who have been having a pop at me for years about Potts because I didn't want him back. Now all of a sudden forgotten who he is. All right. Big up, Mia. Much love as always. And thank you for bringing some much needed humour to the Spurs community as always. Big up to you. Adrian Chia said soon we have to wear straight jackets to play football. This is it. This is it. Straight jackets. By the way, guys and girls, I'm not doubting the stupid rules, but I would love to think that we still play with some common sense.
Yeah.
Like some common sense. Big up to you, Adrian Chia. Let's get those straight jackets ready. And 7SC has said, would we have got that second goal if they didn't get awarded that pen? PS, vote for FHTV, guys. Loving the stream. Big up to you. Swings and roundabouts. You never know. Does one reaction cause another reaction? Not sure. But yes, please do vote for Football Heritage TV. The link is in the chat. If you haven't already, please do. It would mean the world to me. And it's quite baffling that we've got 113 people have voted and 30% of people have said that they're not going to vote for me. That's really weird considering they're coming to watch my content, right?
Cretins.
30%.
13. 3-0. 3-0.
Oh, no. Come on, Kate. We're going to get on to them. Rude.
I mean, come on, people.
That's
Whether
rude.
you like Savva or not, he is a bit like Marmite, so we know a lot of people don't like him, but he is a nice guy, really. But
aren't I flying the flag for Spurs?
Yeah, and he flies the flag for Spurs. But come on, you watch him, he provides good content all the time. Just do the nice thing. Life's too short. Try and do one nice thing today and vote for Savva. Don't be rude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what Savva does very well, he questions things very well. He questions things very, very well. What other content creators, sometimes they don't,
Yeah, exactly.
You have to question things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you noticed as well, what I've noticed watching a lot of YouTube channels, when I read out the super chats, I give them the proper time and energy and answer. So many people just go, so-and-so said this, and they move on. I'm thinking, hang on, no, that person's paid to say something.
I did 2 super chats on that show you was on yesterday, Savva, at 2:00, and they didn't read either one out. They just put it on the screen. Outrageous.
No,
Savva, are you saying armpit to ball while you're pointing behind you isn't a pen? Mate, listen, the whole thing is messed up. Dan, please explain to us why it's a penalty. What is he meant to do from 1 yard away?
Right. Then hear me out on the whole thing here, yeah? You even classing that with the Sissoko thing, yeah? Seriously, you could have come up with a better try than that. Now,
no.
Let me finish my bit.
Dan, you don't.
I'll give you the reason.
Dan, you don't come on my show and start like that. Whoa, you don't come on my show and start like that.
I'll give you the reason.
Dan, if you can't, no, I didn't say they weren't. Again, this is the problem. People like you don't understand context. I didn't liken Sissoko's handball to Romero's. My point is, all the Spurs fans that go in, it is what it is. You were all up in arms when the letter of the law. You were all up in arms when the letter of the law gave a penalty against Sissoko. That was my point.
All right, my misunderstanding. I put my hands up when I'm wrong. Yeah, I misunderstood what you said. Sorry. Right. With that, it was one of the harshest penalties ever. I'm not saying otherwise. How else is the man meant to go down? How else is he meant to do it? I totally understand it. If that would have happened anywhere else in that box, he would have been let off for that. But if his hand wouldn't have been there, that was a goal.
No,
but his hand wasn't. We're making out like his hand was all out there, and it wasn't.
His hand was there next to him, wasn't it? It weren't wide out, but it was there, was it not?
Why was his hand there?
Because he was going down for the tackle. I know he was going down for the tackle. It was a fair fall. I get that.
Right.
But the way they do the bloody rules these days, whether we agree with it or not, I would have said that was ball to hand personally, but I can understand why they gave the penalty because it was right in front of the goal and that was a 95% chance going in. It might be wrong and it might not be the way it was, but you've got to look at the way it is now. Yes, they need to be more consistent. Now, that one that happened with Sissoko, that should never have been a penalty because it didn't interrupt nothing, basically. It was right on the edge of the box. If Romero would have made that change, and that would have happened.
Spurs fans will change it depending on the game.
No, I said it from day on here. If that would have been anywhere else in that box, it wouldn't have been a penalty. It was the fact that it is right in front of goal. You can see 2 players behind him, but you can see the goal clear behind his hand either. Yes, the keeper might have got it. Yes, someone might have got in the way with it, but there's a very good chance if that would have been kicked high enough, it would have been in the back of the net. That is the only reason it was a penalty. It was bloody harsh, but it was a penalty. His hand blocked the goal.
Okay, so let me ask you. No, clearly, you said you've played as a defender, right?
Defensive midfield and keeper.
Okay, right. So me as a footballer, when I'm taught to, if I'm taught as a centre half to block my goal at all costs, if I'm taught to rush across to do what I can and lunge to make a tackle, am I taught to do that with my hands behind my back?
These days, yeah.
No,
You
no,
are,
no,
sadly.
no,
I
no,
wasn't.
no, Dan, no. No coach I know, no coach anywhere in this country is coaching kids to defend with their hands behind their backs. No.
So why does everyone do it then?
Because of the
rules.
stupid right, yes, but that doesn't make it.
Exactly.
That doesn't make it right. The point is,
Right.
Dan,
I
what's
think the thing
what's
we're
he
doing,
meant
mate,
to do?
I
What's
know.
he meant
I agree.
What's he meant to do? We're saying his hand is there. He hasn't put his hand there, right? He's not. It's not been a shot where his hands are here. Sorry, let me step back a bit. If his hands are here, he hasn't seen the ball going in and gone boom, right? He's actually running across and his hands are moving with him because, funnily enough, when we all run, our hands are at our sides. He's pulling his hands away from the side of him and it's hit him from a yard away. So you tell me, Dan, in that yard, what can he do?
Nothing.
In that yard?
I'm not disputing none of it. And I'm not disputing the rules are wrong. But I think what we're having a chat here is about we've gone to something of morals and facts. I'm on your side with this, that it is hard.
No, you're not. Dan, no, you're not.
But
there's no way.
The goal.
He did, but he...
Get a picture of it up on the screen.
No, see, that right. See, now this is why fans like you will ruin football. Get a picture up. The picture will be a still of him at the moment of impact.
That, blocking the goal.
Right. No. Oh my God, you didn't play football. You couldn't have. This is madness. You didn't. Mate, Jesus
it was
Christ.
Harsh. It was harsh.
Dan,
I would have said it was ball to hand, but it was blocking the goal when he went down with it.
It was hands.
Yeah, it was ball to hand.
It was ball to hand.
Wasn't hands to
I
ball,
would have said it was ball to hand. But what I'm saying is, I can understand why it was a bloody penalty. If it would have been anywhere else, it wouldn't have been. But the fact that it was right in front of the goal when it got booted and that, it was going to give. He was going to give a penalty.
It was a deflected shot.
That shouldn't come
I don't know.
Yeah, it's about the decision.
I do
it shouldn't come into it whether it's going to be a goal or not. Because nobody.
He's going to come into it. He's got to go for it or whatever and that. Yeah, I get that. I agree with that.
When they
Dan, he didn't.
So you stop to go.
He didn't go for it the way you're saying he went for it. This is the problem.
When you're saying,
hang on. No, hang on. You turn around and you've done the crime of all crimes. This is exactly what we were talking about just now. Get a picture up. The picture won't show how Romero was moving. The picture will the picture will show a still. I could do that now and it will show I've done that. It won't show that I've done all of that with my hands, right? Romero is clearly, his arms are coming away from an unnatural position because he's running.
Because he's going down.
If you are not allowed to run anymore as a defender, is that what you're saying? We're not allowed to run as defenders.
I don't make the rules. It's not what I agree with and what I don't agree with. The way he was going down, he was covering himself. He was going down in full momentum of how you're meant to do it and everything. I'm not disputing nothing of that. Get that clear. I'm not disputing none of it. It was the way he was coming down. His arm was coming back into him where he was going down in the angle. It was not his fault in any means or manner. There was nothing he could have done with it. The only reason it was a penalty is because it was in front of the bloody goal. That is the only reason.
So if that happens in the centre circle, it's not a goal.
They probably wouldn't have given it.
Sorry. If that happens in the centre circle, it's not a handball.
I don't think they would have given it if it would have been anywhere else on the pitch.
Then right there, we're in the mess, aren't we? Right there, we're in a mess.
It is a mess.
What does it matter where it is?
It is a mess.
But what does it matter?
They do it.
What does it matter where we are on the pitch? A foul is a foul. A handball is a handball. What does it matter where we are on the pitch?
They seem to just be so inconsistent with everything. If they were just more inconsistent with things, I think whether we'd agree with it or not, we'd understand it more. I mean, for me, that was a red card all day, but it was just a yellow. But that's a different story.
I just can't believe how any football fan is watching this and going, "It's a pen. It's a clear pen." I'm watching that going, hang on. I'm watching that going, football's dead. I'm watching that going, what's the defender meant to do? Nowadays, have you seen the spike in the last 3 seasons on penalties given in the Premier League?
Yeah.
It's like that because everyone wants a penalty for everything. Now, what I'm going to say is then every single decision moving forward, let's never debate handballs again. Every handball's a handball now. That's what Dan's saying. Every handball is a handball.
No,
yeah,
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Yeah, you are.
I said the reason they gave it. No, I'm not. I said it, like clearly 2 minutes ago. I said if that would have been anywhere else in the penalty area, it wouldn't have been a penalty. So I'm not debating that that's a handball. You got that one wrong. You misunderstood me.
No, it's not.
I am saying
that's what anyone who's backing it is saying. Anyone who's backing it is saying every time VAR give a penalty for something like that. Of course they are. Every time what we're doing is saying, by the letter of the law. This is ridiculous. The letter of the law is what?
It's inconsistent. They need to be more consistent.
The letter of the law is what? What is that? Can someone bring up what is the actual letter of the law for that situation? Right? Because they read it out on Sky Sports yesterday, and I can't remember it word for word, but pretty much it was about, is it a deliberate, the word deliberate was in there, is it a deliberate act of hand to ball to stop a goal scoring opportunity? No, something along those words. And it wasn't. So by the letter of the law, it's not a penalty.
But
so how are people are going, hang on.
Spoke about it.
Hang on. So when people are going to me, by the letter of the law, that's the rule. It's not. The rule is it deliberate? And it's not deliberate. And it wasn't deliberate.
No, it wasn't. But how many handballs have been given when they're not deliberate? How many times has a player jumped in the air and done that? It happens.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is the rule says deliberate. The word deliberate, it's right. Sorry, it's not deliberate.
If he slapped the ball, that's deliberate.
It's if his hands out of
away from the goal, that's deliberate.
If his hands out of body, innit?
He couldn't do nothing about it.
He couldn't. I know.
But it's here. If it's the word is either deliberate or intentional. So by the letter of the law, when all you people in the chat are going, by the law, it's a penalty. How? It's not. Was it intentional? No. Was it deliberate? No. So why was it a penalty, Dan? It wasn't either of the.
Okay. So then you're saying that 99% of penalties shouldn't be bloody handballs.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yes,
right.
Now you're getting
but
there.
Who makes the rules? I get the point. It is
but that's
crazy.
not the rule, Dan. That's not the rule. You've just said you're tying yourself up in knots. You came on and said, no, hang on. You came on and you said, right? You came on and said, I don't agree with it, but it's the law. The law says it has to be intentional or deliberate. Romero's was neither. Hang on. Let me finish. Romero's was neither intentional or deliberate. So by the letter of the law, you said it's the law. How?
He blocked the goal. Whether you do it intentional or not with that.
No, that's not the rule. Dan, you can't change your argument. You came on and said the law is, that's a penalty these days. Everyone said the new ruls.
Right.
The rules say.
That I remember.
No. What you remember?
Your arm is out.
No, see, this is what
they had the big debate about it on Sky afterwards, and it was 50-50. No one can get their head around this one. Sure. It was bloody harsh. But even if it's accidental and it's away from your body, it's accidental. You don't mean it to be there. But if that blocks a shot at goal, they're going to give a penalty for it.
Dan, you're tying yourself up in words here because you can't answer the question. This is what I love. And you know when Ellie said just now, love me or hate me, I challenge people. This is why.
Just go for it.
Because it's emotion over fact, right? Your emotion of, it was handball, his hand was out here, did it stop a goal? They're not the rules. The rules are, and you told me, law. You're the one who said, by the letter of the law, it's a pen. No, let me fucking finish, Dan. You told me by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. The law says when they read out the rule yesterday from the handbook of the referee's rules, it says, is the ball stopped by an intentional movement of hand to ball or a deliberate act of hand to ball? The answer in both those questions is what? Was it intentional or deliberate?
I don't believe neither was intentional or deliberate.
So then, by the letter of the law that you said it's a penalty, it's not a penalty, is
As
it?
far as I always knew, if your ball,
No,
if
that's
your
not-
arm
no,
was
that's
away
not-
from your
no,
hand and
that's-
it blocks the goal, it's a penalty. It's been like that for years. They've done that.
Dan, that's not the rule. Dan, this is what I like. You've come on spouting a law. That was your.
As far as I
do you
know, that's a rule.
Right, hang on. But do you know that this is the best thing? You've come into court with your evidence, right? You've come into court with your evidence, right? Which was the law, the letter of the law. When someone's twisted the law against you because you're wrong, you're now going, oh, yeah, but I always thought it was something else.
I'm gospel sure that if you block it with your hand, whether it's intentional or not, it's a penalty.
No, Dan, that's not the rule. The rule is it has to be intentional or deliberate. Like Stephen Warnock said yesterday on Sky Sports, he said it was neither. It was not intentional. It was not deliberate. So what are we doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
It's all
agree with the
about the
point.
money.
If it would have been
And what
anywhere
goals
else,
to be
it wouldn't have
scored
been a
for people
penalty.
come
I
back
even
to the
said that at
matches.
the start.
Dan, you're tangling yourself up.
Goal.
No, sorry, Dan. I'm just trying to get to the point here. This is what I love to do. When people come on and want to debate me, stick to your point. Your point was what I'm now arguing against you. I've taken your point, chewed it up, and thrown it back at you, and now you're changing tact. You said,
I'm not.
yeah,
He
Dan,
blocked the bloody goal.
That's not what you said. You came on and said, and you said it in the chat, I'll find the comments, by the letter of the law, this was a penalty. It's the rules. The rules don't say that. The rules say if it is intentional and deliberate. Right? So which one is it? Are you going by the rules or are you going by what you think the rules are?
Well, obviously, then I don't know the bloody rules because I always knew that if you blocked if you blocked it away from your body, I know his arm weren't out there and he was in. It was harsh, but his hand did block the shot at the goal. Did it not? I always thought that was a penalty.
Perchy,
I
is this
always
the
thought
actual
that was a
rule?
penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, but Perchy, is this the actual
it
rule? Right. So if this
Yeah,
is the
he didn't
actual
deliberately do it.
Yeah, you see?
right. So
And he
by
did
the letter of the
neither.
law, it is an offence if a player deliberately touches the ball with their hand arm. For example, moving the hand arm towards the ball. None of those things
He
happened.
didn't do that. He was moving it away from the ball.
He was moving it away
Okay.
from the ball,
Away from the ball.
and it wasn't deliberate. It was his running action.
No.
So with what I'm reading here, if I'm to understand football, which is just totally maybe not understand here, 90% of penalties shouldn't be a penalty. So the player who's jumping up in the air like that when it comes over from a corner, because you're jumping, you can't jump like that. You jump like that.
But
and it
well, you
comes down
don't.
and
The
hits
thing
your
is,
hand,
you don't.
then it's not a penalty. That's what the rule's basically saying.
Right, but
It's
the rules
totally.
The rules are, listen, there are levels to it, right? If you are up in the air like that, if you've
Obviously,
not been
if you've
pushed,
got your arm up
right,
there.
you've got no need for your arms to be like that. But when you go and attack a ball, your arms are like that. Alan Shearer didn't score headers by going like that. You use your arm for elevation. So your arms to a degree will always be out. They have to be. Naturally, if I run down the road here, right? And there's two manholes that are uncovered. And I go, oh, God, I've got to jump over them. I don't go like that and hop over them. I take a run and a jump and I jump, right? If a ball comes across, defenders are taught to bang, right? And where does the power come from? It's the bang, right? Strikers the other way, in that way, right? So none of this is, none of that is unnatural. That is unnatural unless you're pushed. That is unnatural. But going across, moving your hands into your body, that's not unnatural. That's not deliberate.
I'm watching it now.
So the
You know
rule
what?
basically says here, blatantly says here, it's just made me misunderstand it. I just don't get it then. Because what is an accidental? So what's an accidental handball? So if it's accidental in your arms where it was and like he did, it's never a penalty. It's never a penalty or a handball anywhere if it does.
Accidental for me is when a winger goes down the line, right? When a winger goes down the line and he's coming towards the 18-yard box and he's going to clip it in, the defender's side on, his hand is naturally going to be just by his side, right? It's never going to be behind his back or touching his body, right? If a defender whips the ball in from 2 yards and it skims the hand, that's not an actual handball. That's not a stopping an opportunity. That is the winger has put the cross too close to the player and it's hit his hand. That's not deliberate. That's accidental.
Right.
Right.
So if it has to be intentional, then we are saying that referees don't know their games then.
All the rules are messed up. You look at them.
I'm agreeing that they are.
The fact that there's no consistency.
The interpretation.
The fact that there's no consistency. Yeah, listen, a chicken or basketball saying I haven't heard the rules. Listen, this is, if anything shows how bad football is right now, it's the fact that these sort of things are being given. Yeah, I don't think Maligusto should have got a red card, right? I think Eddie Nketiah should have. I think it was never a penalty against Romero. What are we doing here? All of these decisions, they're making decisions. They're finding reasons to give decisions. Yeah. For me.
I just watched it again. Yeah. Mia sent it to me in kind of in slowish motion. The thing was, Romero, he looks so awkward because he's trying to move away from it. He's almost like twisting his back to try and move away.
He's going into the tackle, isn't he?
The thing is, Dan, it weren't going to go in the goal anyway, because not only was our keeper moving, but there was one of our defenders on the line. So it weren't going to go in. But the point is, he could not do anything about it.
Totally understand that. But the reason I believe it was given is because it was in front of goal.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. That's got nothing to do with it. Right, here's the rule in full.
On here, then.
Here's the rule in full of handling the ball. Right? Bear with me. For the purposes of determining handball offences, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. Right?
Yeah, that bit.
Not every touch of a player's hand arm with the ball is an offence. It is an offence if a player deliberately touches the ball with their hand arm. For example, moving the hand arm towards the ball, touches the ball with their hand arm when it has made their body unnaturally bigger. A player is considered to have made their body unnaturally bigger when the position of their hand arm is not a consequence of or justifiable by the player's body movement for that specific situation, i.e. Romero running to make a tackle, right? By having their hand arm in such a position, the player takes a risk of their hand arm being hit by the ball and being penalised, scores in the opponent's goal directly from their hand arm, even if accidental, including by the goalkeeper immediately after the ball has touched their hand arm. I mean, what is all that?
Mate, if it would have been the other way round, I would have called for the penalty because the hand blocked the shot.
I wouldn't have. With the rules
but with the rules you've just shown, then obviously I don't get the football. Then I don't understand the rules these days, because with what's just said there and what you have just said, official rules that we can't argue with, is that basically 99% of handballs ain't handballs because they ain't intentional.
That's why there's
that is what you basically,
because there's so many bad decisions being made every single weekend.
But how can they go and be 99% wrong on it all and nothing gets done about it or said about it? Then that just makes no sense.
It's the money they put into putting VAR in place. I can't admit it.
I didn't think a handball had to be intentional.
Yeah. Goals put scrums on seats.
Just quickly, Richie, when you say unfortunate, it doesn't say deliberate. I'll start again. It is an offence if a player deliberately touches. It's the seventh word in the sentence. Deliberately.
What are they reading?
Does it have to be, does it say deliberate? It has to be deliberate to be a handball.
Mate, there's about 94 different interpretations here, but it starts off by saying deliberately touches the ball with their hand arm. For example, moving the hand arm towards the ball, deliberate and towards. Romero's was accidental and moving away. This is it's madness. It's absolutely.
He went like that and it hit his bloody hand.
So any time that a ball touches a hand, even if it's a total accident by the player, it's never a handball.
Well, because it's not deliberate.
But it doesn't have to be deliberate to be a handball. You can do it accidental though, can't you?
Yeah, but the rule says it has to be deliberate.
If you just try and think hand to ball,
It just
if
makes
the
no
ball,
sense.
if you move your hand to hit the ball, it's a handball. If the ball hits your hand and you haven't moved your hand and it's an accident, it's not handball. That's how it always works.
But you don't have to move your hand, or you can be standing there like that and go like that to block yourself from a shot, and it hits your arm there. That's a handball. That's accidental. I don't make the bloody rules, and what you've just shown me there on the rules, it just makes no bloody sense. Because now we're saying that 99% of handballs ain't bloody handballs.
Look, in that scenario, if a player does that,
it makes no sense.
Right? If a player does that, first of all, I'm saying, God, put your head on the ball.
Position.
Right? But I get it, right? Your natural default, if anything's thrown at you, is to cover yourself, right? I get that. But we're talking about, for me, this goes down to the basics of football. Let's take this back to Football 101. The art of balance, the art of defending, the art of body positions is taught. Everything that you're taught as a defender negates these rules.
Yeah.
Everything negates these rules, right? You are taught as a defender that you are side on. Your arms. Who defends with their arms by their side? Like, it's all these. This person for Ballon d'Or, whatever, a Saka for Ballon d'Or game, he should have had his arms by his side.
You couldn't in that position. He couldn't. And I saw that. But what we're basically saying here, if it is only a handball if it's intentional, then why does every bloody player stand with their hand behind their back? If it has to be intentional, like
because
the rule
they're
you just
worried,
showed me
because
says,
they're so worried
They don't trust
about
the
penalties
rules.
being given.
But if the rule says it has to be intentional, what are they worried about? Because they obviously know the rules better than any of us.
Rules are
what they
vague.
don't
So
trust is the people in VAR and the referee,
Mhm.
because they're not interpreting the rules properly.
Exactly
That's what
that.
they don't trust. Yeah.
So what they've
Interpret
actually
the rules.
done.
If you write a rule, interpret it properly.
I agree with that.
See, again, this rule, it's a pen if an unnatural position and making the body bigger according to the rules. How are the refs to determine who's making the body bigger for what action? Defenders are taught to make their body bigger. No? Block the goal. Defenders are taught to do that. You have to have your arms away from your sides. It's madness. It's absolutely madness that in 2023 we've gone backwards. You guys are all of an age, right? We've all grown up watching Match of the Day where there were a couple of dodgy decisions each week and you went, penalty, that was a penalty. But you moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've brought in technology that was meant to eradicate that. And instead, every week there are more and more and more disputed decisions because you know what? They're not looking at just the main decisions now. They're looking at every decision that happens on a football pitch and they're killing that passion. They're turning it in to the slower sports, which are stop-start. And football was never stop-start, was it?
Do you know?
It was always consistent. Do you think that would have been a handball in another game?
I reckon it's 50-50 because the rules are, the refs are, there's no consistency, Dan. That's the problem for me.
So basically, none of us here can argue on a fact, can we? Because we're basically all giving opinion here.
But
to the actual rules there, it agrees with nothing any of us have said.
Listen, on that I agree. On that I agree. The problem that we've got here is next weekend, you will see, I'm not saying in our game, you will see a decision similar to that next weekend. It won't be given, and then straight away everyone will be going, hang on, why was ours given and that wasn't? And then all the rule makers will go, but the difference between this one and that way was the first phase of play where, and you're like, shut up. Like, shut up. Can't we just go back to, do you know what I mean?
The thing is, right, VAR was meant to be brought in to stop human error, but it's the humans that are overriding the decisions of the technology and interpreting it the way they see it. So it's not made any difference in the long run. All it's done is made it 10 times more confusing and made decisions take 10 times longer because one ref will interpret it one way.
Yeah.
Someone else in VAR would interpret it another way. So human error is still there. It's just bonkers.
But wasn't it great when there was human error? Like, in all honesty, I thought it was great. Like, it was great when there was human error because, let's be fair, right? You'd have decisions like like, let's be fair, the Pedro Mendes goal, right? for
Oh, that's
example,
what I was
yeah?
thinking
Right.
of.
God.
Okay. So you'd have
Yeah.
goals like that. What they did was brought out a superb technology that is absolute, right? Goal line
Yeah.
technology is yes or no, black or white, night and day,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Brilliant technology, right? Because there's no confusion around if the ball went over the line or not. Love it. Great rule they brought in. VAR, what it's actually done is create more Pedro Mendes moments. I'm not saying ball over the line. I'm just using it as a big example. More Frank Lampard for England moments, right? They've created more controversy because now the rules change every year. And this was a simple game. It was 22 men running around on a bit of women, running around on a bit of grass, 2 goals at either end. And it was deemed by the refs saying, was it deliberate? Was it not? Play on or penalty? You could moan, you could argue, but the ref had given his decision. Penalty, done. There was none of this looking at a monitor, waiting 3 minutes to do this, 15 minutes added on into the game. And players could celebrate. Now, I'll say, I went at the beginning of this season, I went to watch Dartford play right down the road in the Conference South. Do you know what? What a lovely game of football, right?
Yeah.
The game flowed. It was about 93 minutes in length, right? The normal 3 minutes were held up. Yeah. Anytime a goal went in, it was a goal, right? When the ball went in, it was a goal. When a decision went against you, there were you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. And then everyone moved on to the next thing that happened in the game. Now in the Premier League, we're talking about the best league in the world, this, that, the other. Every game is littered with VAR controversy. Every YouTube channel, every Football Focus, Match of the Day, every BT, you name it, everything now is about bad decisions, people being split on the decisions. And we never, to round my rant off, I never remember it. I don't know if you guys do, ever being this bad before. Ever.
No.
No.
VAR screwed it. I think your mate here,
Screwed it.
mate, I say person on here, DJ N1. I think he has just made a brilliant point on here that I've read. I don't get why the handball right at the end wasn't given. Udoji, I think it was, had his arm up in the air in the corner and he hit it. It weren't, and that wasn't given as a handball.
Yeah, when he jumped up from the ball and it hit his arm.
Yeah. You could say that was accidental, so it's not a handball. So Romero's was accidental, so it's not a handball. But his one was in front of goal, so they gave the handball. I'm sorry, I'll admit it, I don't get it anymore. I don't get the handball rule.
Yeah,
Obviously
I
don't get
agree.
it. I would have thought
George.
black is white, that he had where his arm blocked the shot. That was why they gave the penalty. But with the rules you showed and everything, what people are saying, it's then saying 99% of penalties shouldn't be bloody penalties. It's gone over my head.
They shouldn't. How many penalties? You know when people are talking about goal scorers now and they go, oh, but so many of his goals are penalties. Of course they are. So many of every team's goals are penalties now because penalties are being given for things that were never penalties. Goalkeeper stats look worse or better than ever because they're facing more penalties than they ever used to in their life.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ever remember a period of time where every game had a penalty. And now it's like penalty. Sorry, just for me, I think it's killing football.
Can we talk about Sonny's goal?
Yes, go for it, Kate. Go for it, Ellie.
Right, so Sonny's goal, I mean, Maddison, what a player. He was in and out of the match, but he wasn't really controlling the midfield. And then he comes up with that. Oh, my God. He spun on a six, but left Saka for dead and had the audacity to play a beautiful ball across to Sonny. And Sonny finished it in style, didn't he? No, that was the first goal, sorry. The second goal, he nicked it off Jorginho, right? Brilliant, right? Jorginho was caught with his pants down, right? Sped past, beautiful ball to Sonny, who slotted it right into the left-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner. What a goal. So cool.
Yeah.
And that is what football's about, that, not VAR. Just get rid of it, for God's sake.
I agree. Who, though, can I ask you a question? Who, in that moment, celebrated like mad, and then in the back of their mind went, hang on, let me just quickly check.
Yeah.
Yes.
What like
Yes.
even without seeing whether it was an offside or anything dodgy,
Yeah.
who straight away
Yeah.
went, is it, have we?
Yeah.
Always. Every
And
goal.
that right there is what's wrong with football.
Mhm.
That's it. And you know when Sonny
Yeah.
scored and it was disallowed, I saw it was offside, but I was hoping they got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
It's
a
mad.
mile offside.
You know
No,
what?
that
Because
wasn't.
when they draw those lines, they get it wrong a lot of the time because they do it
Yeah.
from the wrong angles. Yeah.
He was
Something
well
like
offside
this.
for that one.
Something
That's
like
a good,
this.
good call.
If you've got VAR, you get one challenge per game. So
Like
you
tennis.
get yes.
Like tennis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get one challenge. All right, cool. You've just won your penalty with that one. Done. Cool. You get
Yeah.
nothing else now.
Exactly.
I think that would be absolutely brilliant. Actually, I don't. I would get rid of VAR completely. And then you get the people who go, oh, but it's not VAR. It's the people running it. Don't care. Don't want any of it.
Just
Don't want
leave
any
No.
of
it
it.
to the ref, for God's sake.
Yeah, let the ref be the ref.
And do you know what? In the old days, God, I sound like an old woman, but there was all these decisions that went against us, like the Pedro Mendes one, for instance. But it did feel at the end of the season, like a lot of the time, it did even itself out. I know it's like everyone used to say it evens itself out over the season. VAR is, oh God, I could go on for hours about VAR. It makes me sick. It ruins
Hate it.
everything. It just ruins
Yeah.
everything. The celebration of a goal. It's just awful.
I agree.
know.
I just want to go back to the refs and the assistant referees running the game of football.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. It was part of the banter, the booing and the cheering if they got your team right or wrong, or it was, I just loved it. The refs can't enjoy this, can they? Can we be
It was
brutally
part
honest?
of the debate down the pub, wasn't it? It was part of the
Yes.
argument you'd have after the game when you've all got your beers.
Yeah, it's true. Right?
No,
do you know
VAR
when
has screwed it.
Do you know when Brennan Johnson scored against Sheffield United? I went absolutely crazy, and then they disallow the goal, and it's like leaves you deflated as a fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though if it's a wrong decision after the match finishes and you see it was a wrong decision, it makes you even worse because you think, why did they disallow it when it was a proper goal? Oh, it's so deflating. It's demoralising
really
the
is.
fans.
It
I
really
don't
is.
understand why they even have linesmen anymore. They're so pointless. I don't understand. I mean, it's just. Oh, I'm going to
They're
rant.
not
I'm going
even
to
allowed to flag, are they? Until the VAR gets into action.
Exactly.
It's where
Right,
they
just
changed
quickly-
the rules so much as well. I mean, how many times have they actually changed this handball rule now?
Every
How many
year
seasons on the
change it.
trot? Yeah,
They
you can't
do.
really blame anyone for not.
But you know
getting it
why,
anymore.
Dan? You know why they keep changing it? Because every year they make it more and more complicated that even they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right? This is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
ref had to make a split-second decision, the same way defenders have to make a split-second decision, the same way forwards do, right? It was brilliant because you'd go, yeah, no, go, carry on. And the game would carry on and you'd moan and bitch, but then you'd play on. Now, they're going, oh, actually, hang on, look at that decision. Oh, we need to change the rule. Okay, next year we'll change the rule. Oh, look at that decision. Just go back to what it was, deliberate or not. Guys and girls, smash the like button. We're going to go for another 10 minutes. Smash that like button, please. If you haven't, please do vote for the Content Creator Awards, Best New Content Creator. So far, 190 people have voted. 53% have said yes. 17% have said they're doing it now. And 30% have said they won't vote for me. Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Going to read out some super chats. Big up, first of all, Perchy, been a channel member for 7 months now. Big up to you, Perchy. Said, vote for Savva. Works hard, constant content, vote. Big up to you, mate. Thank you for that. And Perchy's coming again and said, don't put your hands up. You'll give away a penalty. Yeah, don't have arms. Don't have arms. Don't have arms. Big up to you, Perchy. And then Tigaro comes in, as always, and says, to make it even more confusing, Fotheringham deliberately handled the ball and got a yellow. I'm really confused now. Yes, when the Sheffield United goalkeeper came out his area, handled it on purpose. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But big up to you, Tigaro. let's start with you on this one, Ellie. And I know Dan loves him as well. So I'm going to show you Fabrizio Romano's screen from today. So there's been noise over the last few days about Hoiberg, about not being happy at Spurs. No matter what he's saying in public, apparently in private, he's saying he's not happy. And then Romano has said that Hoiberg's contract with his agent has come to an end. The Tottenham midfielder is now looking for scenarios/options going forward. The January market an option for the Danish midfielder. Now, Ellie, none of that is truly a surprise. He's not in the team. He was rumored to be going to Atletico and then Fulham and all these clubs in the summer. Yeah. Does any of this surprise you at all? Do you think we're going to see Hoiberg out the door in January?
I don't think so, but I'm a bit biased because I think Ange actually likes him and he's going to persuade him to stay, right? Because when you think about it, if he goes to Atletico Madrid, right, he's going to go to a different country, Spanish league. He's playing at a very forward-thinking manager's team. He's getting game time. All right, invariably he was played all the time before, but I just feel that if it was me, if I was his agent, I'd be persuading him to stay at Spurs because we're going places. All right, and you're going to be an integral cog in that wheel of Ange Postecoglou pushing forward, right? I just feel he's going to lose something if he leaves us now, and I love him as a player. You know I do. I love him as a player because I love players who play for the badge and go for every tackle, go for, do what you're supposed to do at a footballer. Run, and try and win the ball back, lay on passes. I just feel he's gonna lose something because we're building something here. Be part of it, Pierre. If you're listening, be part of it, mate. Even if you come off the bench for 20 minutes, you're part of the revolution that Ange.
Yeah, but Ellie, let me ask you this though. That's great from you as a fan saying, even if it's 20 minutes. Pierre Hoiberg's not going to want to sit on a bench and play 20 minutes every game of a season, is he? If we think about him.
It depends on what Ange has got planned for him. Maybe Ange.
Well, it's not the first team, is it? Let's be honest. Let's be fair. He's lost his place, Ellie. He's lost his place, and you've still got Bentancur to come back in. So he's got Maddison, Basuma, Sarr, and Bentancur all in front of him.
I know, but I'm biased. I want him to stay.
I know you are.
Just for personal reason. But if he goes elsewhere, I wish him all the best because he's been a fabulous player for us, an ultimate professional. He's never really let us down a lot. There's been games where he's been a bit poo, but what player hasn't under Conte's system and Jose's system? But at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for him. If he feels that 20 minutes or a game here in the FA Cup here and there is not good enough for him, it's best for him to move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Kate, let me ask you. I mean, there's two ways of looking at this. Is he a good player to come on in the last 20 minutes and steady games? Sure. I do think the game changes the moment he comes on. I think we lose that dynamism in midfield, which is okay in some games. But from his point of view, Kate, I'll ask the same question. At his age, is he going to want to just sit on a bench and know that he's fourth or fifth choice centre mid?
No, I mean, I think he's 28 now, and he's never going to get above any of those players you just mentioned. For me, he's a bit of a steady Eddie. He comes on and he calms it down, and he sort of what's the word? I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't think of the word. Tightens it up. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see him go. Sorry, Ellie. I'd like us to get rid of him and get Hatate in from Celtic. I've been calling for him for months and months. I just think he's such a good little player. I like Hoiberg. Like Eddie said, he's not really done anything wrong for us. He's steady, but he just don't fit the system. He slows it down, and you know, like I say, it does solidify it up when we're trying to defend a bit more. But at 28, I don't blame him for wanting to go. He's going to want to get game time and start games, and it just isn't going to happen under Ange. So sorry, Ellie, but I think it's going to be au revoir to old age.
Fair enough. I'm resigned to losing him, but I just had to give my £5 worth.
I mean, Dan, I think it's the natural progression, right? I don't think his style of play suits what Ange wants to do. I don't think he's a bad player, but I do feel that Ange will definitely look at that as a position where he can definitely upgrade and bring in a player with a bit more of the attributes that he likes.
For the style of play that he likes, yeah. Personally, I'm one that thinks Hoiberg gets it right in the neck, and I don't think anyone's really given me a solid reason why he gets as much stick as he does. I've never said he's a quality player, whatever, but he's good. And he's more than good enough to be in that Spurs squad. Because really, we don't know what Bentancur's going to come back like. We really don't. And then when Sarr and Basuma disappear, what cover do we have? Skip. For me, he's double as good as Skip. We just need to keep that cover at the moment. We need to keep the cover because we're dangerous in other places where we haven't got cover.
But is that a reason? Is this a reason? Isn't this why we've always been an average team in the Premier League? Because we use these excuses that we should keep him because we need cover. Surely if Hoiberg does, hypothetical, if Hoiberg does go in January, then Spurs will know he's going in January, and you replace him. You bring in a better player, right?
If Spurs replace him and give a better player, I'm game all day long. If you go and find me a goalkeeper that's twice as good as the one we just got, I'll say goodbye to Vicario, and I think he's very good.
How dare you?
Well, if the goalkeeper you find is twice as good, I'm all game for bringing in the better player. But as a backup player, are we going to find better than Hoiberg at the moment by January?
Much better. This is what I don't get. He doesn't fit. Sorry, for me, Ellie, he doesn't fit the style. You could see when he came on, our midfield dynamic changed from being dynamic to being methodical. Now that's fine. If I'm in the last 20 minutes of games away at Man City, at Arsenal, at Liverpool, cool, right? But in most games, when you bring on Hoiberg, I see the drop off from the other three midfielders. I think it's huge. I think it's absolutely huge.
What you've got to take into consideration, right? Madders was off, right? Basuma was probably tired at that time as well. Sarr was he was losing the ball a lot. I know that. He was losing the ball a hell of a lot. And he was
went crazy for 10 minutes.
He had a crazy 10, 15 minutes. So you need experienced heads to come on. All right. He might not be happy with that. But if I was Hojbjerg, I would stay. Because there's nothing better out there than Tottenham Hotspur.
There's a lot better out there. Come on. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Our club are going places.
Right? But not with him. But not with him.
The drop's too big, isn't it?
I think we can, because you're underestimating. Hojbjerg's got the most progressive passes next to Harry Kane last season. Right?
Yeah, but in a different style of play, Ellie. This is the problem.
On the eye, he can be just as good as Sarr, because Sarr can give you different things. He can run with the ball, but you need experienced heads. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, these young players, they can let you down, right? And it's nice to have someone like that who's got the experience, who's got the know-how. When he plays for Denmark as well, he plays more forward and he's creating chances. All right. So he's a footballer. Footballers can fit any system in my book.
I'm not hearing it. I'm sorry. I'm not hearing it.
I think he can. Right.
Let me ask you a question then.
When he's come on.
Let me ask you a question. If he can, and you think he can, and he is a footballer, like you said, and all this, why has Ange immediately come in and dropped him for Papa Sarr, who's 20 with no experience? Why?
I know why. Because Papa Sarr can give him what he's looking for.
Right.
Right. I know. but Hojbjerg can give you something different. Yeah. So it's nice to have a balance in your team. You can't have all runners. You have to have someone who stays disciplined as well.
I understand that. I just look at it and I think we're a team that aren't in Europe for a start, right? We're now out the League Cup. We're playing once a week up until, I mean, in December's an anomaly. We're playing 7 games in December. That's where I think he will come in handy. But when Bentancur is fit, for me, I'm looking at Hoiberg and I'm thinking, I don't ever see why you get on the pitch. For me,
you're thinking that Sar's going to be dropped then.
I don't know. I've said all along. For me, let's see with the whole Sar Bentancur thing. For me, nobody deserves a right to walk straight back in the team. I think if you're a Harry Kane type player, you walk back into the team. If you're Sonny, you walk into the team, right? If you are Rodrigo Bentancur, who's been out for 9 months injured, I think it all depends. Let's assume he comes back in the first week, second week of November. Doesn't matter. November, right? At that time, Papa Sarr could be in brilliant form or crap form. He could be playing with a niggle. He could be playing without a niggle. He could be suspended or not. If he's playing brilliantly and we're playing once a week, Bentancur's got to fight for his place, right?
Yeah.
If he's not playing well, Bentancur comes in, you go, right, this is a great problem to have. But all that does for me is shows you that Hoiberg is always going to be a last resort substitution. So why would he stay no matter how well we're doing? Isn't he better for me? Sorry, I'm going to say this. For me, I think I know it didn't materialise. I think a move to a Fulham would have been sensational for a Hoiberg.
Exactly.
For me, he would go there, be their main man, one of their main men in midfield, alongside Anguissa and not Anguissa. Who am I talking about? That's Anguissa's Napoli. Alongside Harry Reid and he'd replace Paulinho. You guess when he's sold. I think every game he starts, I think that would suit him. I don't think staying for 20 minutes to play in a progressive team that move the ball forward, that drive with energy, I don't think that suits him. Sorry.
It's not good for a career.
I just said to you, Savva, that he's made the most progressive passes.
But
that is fact. That is.
Do you think he was good to bring on against Arsenal? Where we lost Maddison, as soon as basically what happened to us is exactly what happened to Arsenal. As soon as they lost Rice, they fell apart. Look what happened with Juninho. The step down is massive. We lost Maddison.
Yeah.
We weren't getting forward anymore. I do think he was the smart thing to bring on because we didn't really have any other options. And
because he's not going to play over Hojbjerg.
Exactly.
I think
it was
Dan,
a tricky situation.
There's 2 questions here. Should he have been brought on and did he do well? Did he do well to a degree? A couple of really good passes, but for me, too slow on the ball, too lackadaisical, and it changes the dynamic. But for me at the moment, there's not better. For me, what I want is I want to start seeing these players. I want to see Richarlison go out and a better striker come in. I want to see Royal go out and a better right back option come in. Davis and Sessegnon and Dyer go out better. Hoiberg go out better.
You can't argue with that. Argue with that.
So for me, he came on because he's all we've got.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with you. Skippy is crap. I'm sorry. I've never rated Skip in any way, shape, or form.
You know what I mean?
I used to. When he was at Norwich, he was good. I thought he was going to come to us and be good, and he's bang average at best. And that's giving him credit.
Level, I think.
Yeah.
What's that?
Championship player for me.
Oh, massively. Massively.
Yeah. I'll go with you. Yeah.
Or bottom of the league in the Premiership.
Things with
that are going to struggle, like Bournemouth. You know,
thing is with Hojbjerg, Ellie. The thing is with Hojbjerg, we criticise Tottenham for hanging on to players like Sanchez, like Dyer, like Ndombele. Why are we going to hang on to Hojbjerg? He doesn't fit the system. He's not good enough. I know you think he is, but he's not. If we can upgrade,
good enough. I think he can play a part. I think
you can't put him in. You can't put him in the same level as Sanchez.
If he doesn't want to play a part, he's going to move, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 28. He's never going to start.
You can't put him in the same level as Sanchez.
He's going to be a bit part player, isn't he? From now on.
No, I'm not putting him on a level. I'm not putting him on the level with Sanchez because that would be outrageous. But what I'm saying is we hang on to players that don't fit or aren't wanted or needed, and when we could do better. And although Hojbjerg is a decent player, we can do much better.
If we do better, if we can find better, then do it. But if there is no one better at the time,
there is. There is. I can't have the question.
I agree. There is better out there.
There is.
But will Tottenham go for them? That's the question,
well, look.
isn't it?
Let's look at the window we just had. Let's look at the window we've just had. Right. So far, the players Ange has brought in. Question marks for me over Brennan Johnson at the moment because I don't think we've naturally seen what he wants to do with him. I don't believe he was brought to play on the left-hand side. I don't think that works. But other than that, Van der Ven suits him perfectly. Madison, perfect. Vicario, perfect. Solomon, as Solomon, we all know is going to be a rotation guy, right? We know he's not going to start every week. Perfect, right? So for me, I think Ange knows a player. I think he will go and dig a couple of unknowns, maybe. I agree with Kate. I would take Hatate in centre mid over a Hoiberg all day, every day. More dynamic, more energy. You've got to have players with an engine. And for me, when I watch Hoiberg, this is my worry with him. He looks like he's running in treacle a lot of the time. I've got nothing against him. He's been a solid player for us through that Jose Nuno Conte era, but unfortunately, it's not that era. That's more
because they're more defensive managers. It makes sense that he does move on.
It does
because he wants fast-paced players who can move the ball quickly and actually can run with the ball as well. That's not Hojbjerg's style. He can't do that. No, but he's not a bad footballer. He's not a bad footballer. He's a very good technical footballer, but he's just not suited to that style.
Yeah, I agree. Does he? The thing for me is it's all right having good progressive passes, but for me, what I've seen in the way Ange plays is it's all about at the pace in which things happen. And for me, this is where when he came, I'm not blaming him, by the way. Obviously it was tough. He came on at the time that Maddison and Son went off. You notice the difference in midfield. All of a sudden, Basuma had to drop back and do a hell of a lot more. And look, it is what it is. But guys, I do want to move on. Sorry, I do want to end the show. Perchy will be going live at 12 o'clock. Please get over and support Perchy. Dan, thanks for coming on, mate. I love our debates.
Thanks for letting me on for the debate. One thing I've learned today, I don't get the handball rule, and I don't think 99% of us do, mate.
None of us do. It's a mess. It's a mess.
I'll put my hands up to it. I don't get the handball rule. It don't make sense.
What I'm going to say is for all the Arsenal fans that were in the chat going, definite penalty. All right, wait till one goes against you. We'll see. We'll see how you like the rule. Ellie, thanks for joining all the way from Cyprus. Thank you.
No worries.
Enjoy your holiday.
I'll give you a little view. Look.
Oh,
nice.
Brilliant.
Go away. She's gone. Kate, thanks for joining. Always a pleasure.
Lovely. Thanks for having me on, Savva. Everyone vote for Savva. Follow the link and vote for Savva, or me and Ellie, we will find you. Let me tell you, we will find you.
Please do. It would mean the world. Please, if you've got any Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups, please whack it in there as well. Look, I'm flying the flag on this one for Spurs. Please vote for best content creator to Chris Cowlin, best podcast to Lost Word on Spurs, and for the diversity award to Harry Scarf. So please do go and vote. Let's stick together as Spurs for once. Let's see how many Spurs channels actually back me on this and help me. This will be really interesting. But big up. Thank you, everyone. Please like, please subscribe. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.